We are back with another Pick'em video. It is Wednesday, December 3rd in the NBA. We have a 9-game slate to talk about in this one. I've got some plays that I'm liking, like always, and that's what we're going to be doing in this one. But first, we're going to go over the recap of yesterday's video picks. And also, of course, I want to say, like the video, subscribe if you are new, comment something down below. My eye is red. People love pointing that out. No, I did not just hit the Benjamin. I'm locked in. I have a cornea issue or something going on. It usually happens when I sleep in my contacts, which I did last night. But yeah, like the video. I want to get more views on this channel, not just for my pride, but just so more people can get access to me and hopefully be able to help them. I think I'm one of the best in the industry. I'm definitely the most transparent. Each and every day I come on here, I show my wins, I show my losses, I show my entire history from the entire season, and we've been cooking. So there's a reason why not a lot of people show their history, and they'll celebrate a 3-0 day or something like that, but they don't go back and say, hey, this is what we're up for the entire season. A few guys do, and I applaud them for that. But not a lot. So yeah, that's my little rant at the beginning of this thing. Let's get into the recap of yesterday's video picks so we can start talking about some winners today. And we had a great day. As you guys can see, obviously, in the title, we are on a little bit of a run here. The only losers yesterday were the 0.25, the 0.1 unit plays on Julius Randle's triple-double assists to get a lot over. He ends with 6. He was losing a lot of minutes to Naz Reid in that game, who was playing well offensively. He came back and played overtime. He ended up having 6 assists throughout the third quarter, so he got this early. So it was really no sweat. I thought he might get at least 8, but he ended up not assisting very well, scored well in that overtime. And then Jaylen Brown, this guy continues to cook. 37.5 PRA. How about keep the points? He scored 40 on those guys in a big win over the Knicks. The Celtics have now beat the Knicks, the Pistons, the Cavs over the past week. As a Celtics fan, obviously pumped about that. And I'm pumped for Jaylen Brown to get that number 1 option completely this season. And he's shown the league, what he can do as that guy. Jared McCain over 12.5 points. Easy money right there. He had 11 points at halftime. It's getting a little bit of sweaty because I didn't know if he was going to stop playing. He came back in, had 14 points in that game. This line also moved like crazy, but even if you got it at 13.5, you still cashed out. So 3-0 is what I'm going to call it. Obviously, we attacked a 268, 820, and 2600 play yesterday. I don't typically count those as my normal run. And for the entire season, we are up 10.37 units on a million plays. We're 73 and 58 in our 50-50 plays, 25 and 30. And our plus money plays still up on that as well. And our total record 98 and 88, up 10.37 units. So let's get into the video picks for today. Obviously, I'm super pumped up. And we got a lot of games, a lot of plays I'm liking. Probably going to talk about 4 or 5 plays. So let's lock in. So jumping into Props Madness like we always do to start talking about some of our plays. There's a link in the description down below if you want to check out Props Madness. If you're watching this video and you're like, dang, this tool is sick, you can go ahead, hit that. It tells them that I sent you there. But let's start with our first play of the video. It's going to be one that's juiced, but we're going to ladder it up to 10 plus assists as well. But we're going to go to James Harden's assists, minus 135 on BetMGM right now. Again, we're going to be going to the over 9.5 assists or the 10 plus assists for probably some plus money here. But yeah, loving this spot for James Harden. If you look at the matchup itself, it's not a great matchup for above the break, not a great matchup for inside the three-point line, non-restricted area. But right at that restricted area, yeah, 24th ranked, 42% of his assists are coming right there. And we just need the Clippers to stay in a game. They just said goodbye to Chris Paul. He wanted a farewell tour. They said, nope, pack your bags, get out of here. Now James Harden pretty much has no backup point guard, and he's the offense anyway. And now we got Kawhi in here. He's been pretty good when he actually plays. Doesn't play a ton of time in the court each and every game, but he should be out there today. And again, they just keep losing by a lot of points. 17-point loss, and again, 4-point win or 4-point loss. Had a lot of time in the court, gets over. 5-point loss, 40 minutes on the court, gets over. Lost by 17, lost by 15. They just lose a lot of games, and they're not in a lot of games, so Harden doesn't stay on the court much. This is a 2.5-point spread, so I think he should stay on the court. And again, we did this with Jaylen Brown yesterday. If they can stay within 10 points, meaning they don't lose by more than 10 points, he's now over this in 54% of games. If you want it within both sides of things, each team's not winning more than 10 points, 66.7% of games. So obviously that's going to go hand in hand with the minutes on the court. And I do like the matchup in terms of assists. Again, right at the rim, we've seen Cade Cunningham, Luka Doncic have success against this team. Two guys with huge usage rate, and that's what we're going to see with Kawhi. With James Harden here. The reason I mentioned Kawhi is because if Kawhi is going to be in this game and they're going to be within the points, he's now over this in 4 or 5 games, over the double-digit assists too in 4 of the 5 games. So essentially I'm looking at the 2.5-point spread. Hopefully there's no blowout is what I'm saying here. And if we get rid of all those filters, what just happened against the Heat? They lost that game by 1 million points and they got destroyed early. They didn't even play I don't even think James Harden played maybe 1 minute in the second half. Ty Lue was pissed, and he hopefully is going to get a better effort from the team today. They didn't make some crazy move, but they did make some sort of move to ruffle some feathers, maybe light a fire under some of these guys with, moving on with Chris Paul. He wasn't doing much anyway. But James Harden, I think, comes in here, dimes up like he typically does. And again, just hopefully it stays close. Within 10 points, not asking too much. And I think he can get it done, especially with Kawhi out there for some easy ones. And I keep mentioning Kawhi just because he is one of his favorite assist targets, but also, of course, Zubac got a great opportunity to score at the rim. 63% of his shots come right there. They rank 22nd. They give up a lot of assists there. You can actually see where Harden gets his assists. It's going to be a lot of those guys right at the rim. 26 for Zubac. Collins has 17 assists for him. And then Kawhi is his third favorite assist target. That's why it's big for him to be in this game, even with the time Kawhi's missed. So loving the spot for Harden to get some assists. Just wanted to point out some of these other guys that he's going to be assisting to with a little bit easier of a matchup to score some points. Moving along to the second play here, I'm rolling with Deuce McBride over 11.5 points, minus 110 on BetMGM right now. The New York Knicks are on a back-to-back set, so that is a kind of a positive thing in terms of, hey, someone could potentially pop up on the injury report. Probably not, because OG Anunoby's already missing this game. If you go over to RotoWire, no one on the injury report as of right now except for OG and Landry Shamet, and that's turned to a lot of minutes for Miles McBride. 33 projected minutes today. And you can see that in the games so far this year. Games with OG Anunoby, you can see his average minutes, 22.8. Games without OG Anunoby, he's been getting a ton of time on the court, 33.4, and obviously the hit rate starts to look a little bit better. So I want to see games that hopefully, relatively close, minus 8.5 point spread, but even in a big win, I wouldn't expect him to lose a lot of minutes. You can see the lowest minutes right here was this 22-minute game, and that was a win by 2. Maybe just a bad matchup for him. Today he's got a green light above the break, 27th rake there. That's where a lot of his points are coming from. Not the best in terms of spot ups, but he gets a lot of handoffs right at that top of the key, and he scores some buckets there. He can also get to the rim slightly, 15% of his shots, but they're weak there. This could be a big Jalen Brunson game, but I think his line is just a little bit too high for me to attack. He's, again, coming off a bad game yesterday. And with the back-to-back set, I'm going to ride with the guy that is not like a normal starter. If they're going to be giving minutes to guys at the end of the game in a 15, 20-point game, it's probably going to be Deuce McBride out there, especially with Shamet and OG Anunoby out there. They got to fill some bodies. So I'm going to roll with Miles McBride. Again, 8.5 point spread against the Charlotte Hornets. Defensive rating 24th. Points in the paint allowed 26. Defensive rating to that above the break 3, again 27th. There's a good spot for him to score some points. No OG Anunoby. I think he's going to get more than 30 plus minutes in this game. 66% hit rate. And again, the games he's coming up short, he's coming up just short. 9 points against the Celtics on 3 of 6 shooting, just didn't get the touches. Now it's a back-to-back set. Mikal Bridges is going crazy. I don't expect him to pass the ball when he's knocking down 3 after 3. Josh Hart also with a big game. So with those guys coming maybe back to regression, Miles McBride, maybe a couple more touches today. The other game he missed 4 of 10, 1 of 5 from 3. So if you can get some, better shooting percentages, 11 shots in this one, 63%, 75%, 43%. This is a huge game. I think that was probably without Jalen Brunson. Yeah, Jalen Brunson didn't play that game. I think he can come in here, knock down some shots against an easier defense, and we already saw him do this against this exact same team, 19 points against the Charlotte Hornets. And again, OG and Shamet weren't in that game either. So I don't know if he's going to come out and shoot 5 of 5 from 3, but we're not asking for 19 points. We're just asking for 12, and I think he's going to get the volume today to creep over this line. We're not going to ladder this one up at all, but if he gets 12 points, perfect. 15 would be, no sweat would be great. But yeah, I think he's got a great spot to knock down some open shots, and I think that's what we're going to see from him today. So Deuce McBride, 11.5. Again, I pointed out a couple times, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, both huge games yesterday. I don't know if they're going to, replicate that once again. They're going to need some offense from some other places, and Miles McBride can score the buckets when he needs to. So good spark plug off the bench typically, now entering the starting lineup. Hopefully he gets going early against a weak team. And then before we move on from the Knicks, I want to mention again, I think it is absolutely a bounce back spot for Jalen Brunson. He's got a great opportunity to score some points against this Charlotte Hornets team. The only thing that scares me, it's not the back-to-back, because he's gone over once and not gone over another time in back-to-back situations. It's not really that. It is the fact that they are going up against a team that is not very strong. 8.5 point spread. If this game ends up being a blowout, which was the last time they played these guys, you can go in, you can see the win-loss margin. If they're going to win a game by 10 plus points, Jalen Brunson's only over this 29.5 point line 44% of times. Whereas you go back to Deuce McBride, if I can spell his name, Deuce McBride, you go to games, again, it's essential that you see games without OG Anunoby, and then you see the closing margin of 10 plus. If they're going to win by 10 plus points, he's over this in 2 or 3 games, including that big game against the Charlotte Hornets. So I'm liking the data a little bit more for Miles McBride. I do not think that Jalen Brunson's going to have a bad game whatsoever, but the blowout situation I think affects Brunson a little bit more than it might Miles McBride. Jumping to the third play here, I'm loving Tyler Herro, 30.5 points, rebounds, assists against the Dallas Mavericks, minus 110 on BetMGM. Now, seemingly, this is going to be a bad matchup, and I'm going to break this thing down, and hopefully you guys agree with me, because Tyler Herro right now, we've only seen 4 games, coming back from injury last year. He's played right around the 30-minute mark in each of these games. He's over in 2 of 4 games, even in the 17-point blowout, almost got there against the Clippers. And now he gets the Dallas Mavericks. A lot of red. You like to see green when you're going props madness. It makes it very easy. Does this guy have a good matchup or a bad matchup? And again, seemingly tough matchup for a guy like Tyler Herro, who right now is scoring 29% of his points on spot up, 28% of his points on transition, and 26% of his points on isolation. Now, what have the Miami Heat done so far that's kind of shocked the world in terms of how they play? They're playing with a ton of pace. So transition has been a lot of everyone scoring and spot up opportunities, getting to the paint, kicking out, or just getting out in transition and getting some easy buckets there. The problem is they're very good at transition defense, so they might have to rely a little bit more on something like a pick and roll ball handling situation or getting the free throw line, isolation, these other things that they're a little bit weaker on. And a guy like Norman Powell is the only guy I can see that actually has some pick and roll ball handling experience. 8% of its points come from there because they run out so much in transition. You can see, similar to Tyler Herro, spot up transition, the same thing for Norman Powell to get some points. They're very weak in that pick and roll ball handling spot, and Tyler Herro, not typically a spot-up guy. He has been so far throughout 4 games. But last year, when they needed to rely on him, his main source of scoring was 24% of his points from pick and roll ball handling. So I think they're going to have to rely on Tyler Herro to get into that pick and roll, maybe score some points in the half court rather than running in transition all game, because this Dallas Mavericks defense has been good against that all year. So now we go into this year, I think he's going to rely on the pick and roll ball handling, something he hasn't had to do so far. And again, he played these guys already, got over in 29 minutes in a 4-point game, and we saw a lot of shots from him, 18 shots in that game. Norman Powell did not play in that game. He might not play in this game, but if he does, I still think Tyler Herro is getting more and more minutes throughout the season as he's coming back from that injury. So I think we could see 33, 34 minutes from a guy like Tyler Herro. And again, I think they're going to rely on him for the offense a little bit more than this graph is showing. Shot type analysis, Props Madness has added this. Within 10 feet, 25th ranked there in 33% of his shots. Pull up, 67% of his shots. They rank 22nd ranked there. So it looks like a tough matchup, but I think they're going to have to rely on the pick and roll ball handling from a guy like Tyler Herro, their main source of scoring for that last year, as he comes back into form this year. So I'm liking this spot for him to score some points. Why am I adding the rebounds and assists? Well, rebounds, it's a great opportunity for him to get some rebounds. They rank 28th there. And then his assist line is only at 3.5. This is a guy that, again, last year he could absolutely dime up. He went over this line a ton last year, 72% of games that I'm showing, 76% of games in the entire year. He hasn't had huge assist totals so far this year, but we have had a 7-assist game. He had 0 in that other game on 4 potentials. But again, as he gets his footing back into place, he's going to become that player that he was last year. He hasn't changed completely, and I think we're going to see a good game from him, rebounding, assisting, and scoring today, which is why I'm going to put it all together. Points, rebounds, and assists, minus 110 is the best offer right now, and that's what I'm going to roll with for Tyler Herro against the Dallas Mavericks. Jumping in the fourth play here, it's going to go back to that Hawks-Clippers game, and it goes hand in hand. If we're going to an over for a guy like James Harden, it's good to go to an over for a guy like Jaylen Johnson. We're hoping this game stays close. No blowout situation is going to bode well for both of these plays. And same thing, if it is a blowout situation, it's going to be worse for both these plays. But at the same time, I'm liking Jaylen Johnson, minus 105 or minus 115 to get over 1.5 3-pointers. You can see what he's been doing. And I went to Onyeka Okongwu a few days ago, maybe a week or two ago, and kind of the same thing with Jaylen Johnson. He's just shooting more threes, and I think that's what we've seen from the Hawks without a guy like Trae Young, who holds the ball a lot, can obviously set guys up, but they're just like flowing in terms of offense, a lot more threes going up, and we can see that in terms of Jaylen Johnson's charts. People in the last 5 games are going to love this play because he's been absolutely cooking from 3, but not only is he cooking from 3, he's shooting a lot more threes, 4 of 8, 4 of 8, 3 of 7, 0 of 4 in that game. And again, I think he's a guy that he's not going to rely on the 3. If the first 2 fall, if the first 1 falls, he might shoot a little bit more. And then 2 for 4, 2 for 4, 2 for 3, 3 for 8. You can see his just 3-point attempts are just on a big uptrend up. You can see the blue line is his 3-point attempts. A lot of these games is Trae Young not shooting a whole lot. Now he's the number 1 offensive player on the team. Very, very good player overall. I don't know if you've been tuning into Jaylen Johnson, but he's been hooping. But yeah, he's just been continuing to shoot more and more threes, and I like the trend that we're seeing here. So if he's going to shoot 6, 7, 8 threes, I really love this opportunity. He's got a great matchup to do so. 30th ranked in terms of above the break threes. He barely ever gets one from the corners here. So loving this spot for him. Spot up, they're not super low against either. Positionally, I haven't looked at this. 53% of guys going over the line, so nothing too special. But Jaylen Johnson turning into a huge offensive threat, and as he's shooting more and more threes, we've seen his points go up and up and up too. So he's been scoring a ton of points. Games without Trae Young, 55% hit rate right now, but games without Trae Young over this in 68% of games. And again, three-pointers attempted, that's what I like to see. It's not like he's going out there and shooting 3 of 3 from 3, 4 of 5 from 3. He's getting 8 3-pointers up a lot in some of these games, and hopefully that uptrend continues in a good matchup to shoot some threes here. Transition, he could maybe pull off from threes right there. I doubt it, but 24% of his shots, not a ton come from three-pointers, but they do protect the paint a little bit more. Maybe he relies a little bit more on the three-point line. And yeah, just loving the spot. What he's been doing, and 1.5 just seems way too low at that price at -115. And before we jump into the fifth and final play, I want to shout out Chalkboard. If you sign up using code RichPicks, you get a 100% deposit match up to your first $100, and you're going to get a free square of someone, whether it's a passing yards, whether it's a points line on the highest point scorer of the day. It's going to be a free square for you guys to start off your journey on Chalkboard. Very, very fun DFS platform, kind of like PrizePicks or kind of like even more like Sleeper. They have triple-double lines and all those different things. And they also have game lines if it's available in your state. So definitely check out Chalkboard. And if you sign up for Chalkboard using my code RichPicks, let me know in the comments down below or in the free part of the Discord, or if you're even already in the Discord, and I'll extend or give you a free month of my Discord community, which is very, very good value. So it's a great offer. Definitely check out Chalkboard, code RichPicks when you sign up. There'll be a link in the description down below. And that fifth and final play is going to be Donovan Clingan. It's going to be our only under on today's card. Points, rebounds, assists, under 23.5, -110 on BetMGM. I don't like this matchup for him. You can pretty much just see it's a yellow or red-ish orange matchup in pretty much every regard. It doesn't have an amazing matchup in anywhere 15th ranked in terms of down in the paint. 66% of his points come from there. He is a guy that randomly shoots a couple threes, so if he can extend out and make some threes, that might hurt us a little bit. But putbacks, he does rely on that a lot. 11th rank there, pick and roll big man, they rank 5th there. There's going to be no Jared Allen in this game, which is, could seem like a bad thing for a guy like Donovan Clingan, but he's a big body. He's kind of a slower guy, and if they're going to be running Evan Mobley at the center position and then bringing in guys like Dean Wade or something, people that can extend the floor, it might not be the best situation for Donovan Clingan to be out there in terms of like being too slow to keep up with their other centers. And another thing I want to point to is the fact that we still got no Drew Holiday, but a guy that we will see today is Robert Williams. In games with Robert Williams, he's only over this in 23% of games. He's been right around this line in the past few games. He has been playing very well, but I don't love this matchup. I don't think he's going to absolutely crush this line. I think he's got a bigger avenue to go under, even if it's just under against this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Again, without Jared Allen, there's not really another big body for him to bang down low with. He's going to have to deal with Evan Mobley, who is a little bit more agile, and even guys like Dean Wade, like I mentioned, can go out and extend the extended three-point line. They might want to run a little bit smaller and run with other guys that can keep up. Even Robert Williams a little bit more active and agile than a guy like Donovan Clingan. But yeah, I'm liking the small ball opportunity for the Portland Trailblazers today. I don't think we're going to see a ton of time from Clingan. He'll probably get around that 21 to 23 or 25 minutes mark is what I'm expecting. And it's just a difficult matchup anyways, even if he gets 26, 28 minutes or whatever it might be. So Clingan, been under this a ton in the season. I don't expect him to crush this line. Again, more avenues for him to go over is what I'm seeing than for him to go under. Sorry, did I say that wrong? It's more avenues for him to go under than it is to go over. And that's what I'm rocking with at -110 on BetMGM at 23.5 PRA. So hopping into the recap to go over what we actually talked about in this thing. Donovan Clingan, we just talked about under his 23.5 PRA. Jaylen Johnson over his 1.5 3-pointers. You could go to his points, but I like his opportunity to get some points from beyond the 3-point line just because they're a little bit better interior defense. Tyler Herro over his 30.5 PRA. Norman Powell might not play. If he doesn't, I think I really like this play, obviously. If Norman Powell does play, I don't think this line is horrible at all. I think Tyler Herro going to be relied on as a pick-and-roll ball handler, like we mentioned, like he was all last year. He hopefully comes back into what he was last year as the season progresses. Miles McBride over 11.5 points in a back-to-back situation where Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart were on fire. Maybe Miles Bridges gets some action today and starts hitting his shots. And then James Harden over his 8.5 assists. We took some juice at -135. That's going to be 0.8 units there. And then we'll get above the 1 unit mark if Harden gets to 9.5 assists plus 120 right now on Novig. Really a BetMGM day. Yesterday was a DraftKings day. I don't go out there and look specifically for one book. I go to the 5 books that I can bet on in my state, and just so happens BetMGM has a lot of the value today. So that will do it for me in this one. Again, please go ahead and leave the video a like if you got to this point, especially. Comment something down below. It tells YouTube to push it out. It helps me for the algorithm. I will start eventually uploading these videos a little bit earlier so more people can see them. But again, anytime you guys like or comment, it tells YouTube, hey, this guy's content's good. Let's push it out a little bit more. And of course, subscribe if you are not subscribed already. But that'll do it for me. Props Madness is awesome. That was the tool I was using all throughout the video. There's a link down there in the description down below. Chalkboard is a very fun DFS kind of platform. There's a description down there. Use code RichPicks, $100+ in terms of deposit match, which is sick. You get a free square and you get a free month in my Discord community. And if you want access to my Discord community, I'm getting it right now for 50% off, $10 for your first month, practically giving this thing away. It's not only you get access to all my picks, but you also just get a fun, community aspect where you can talk to other like-minded people. I don't think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people just sell their picks, or they sell a VIP with 1 pick a day or 2 picks a day. I give out slips. We tack a lot of plus money parlays and things like that. It's a whole lot of fun. So definitely, again, if you're at this point in the video, definitely check us out. $10 a month, practically giving this thing away for your first month. So thanks for everyone for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. 9-game slate. Super pumped about it. I'm going to be researching all throughout the rest of the day and get out a whole bunch of plays for it today because I'm loving the slate and loving our opportunity to profit again. We've been on a roll. Hopefully that continues, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the next video. Peace out.